What's going on YouTube? JT Reborn here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 50. This one is written by Mark Waid, with the return of Dan Mora to this book. Man, I really miss Dan Mora's artwork. He's, one of the best artists at DC, and like I said, I miss him on World's Finest. But we also got two stories in this thing. That one drawn by him, and the other one by, Adriana Gutierrez. And yeah, this is the big 50th milestone issue, not counting some annuals that they've had in this thing. But yeah, hard to believe we're at issue 50 already. I've been covering this thing for the past couple of years now, and for a 50th issue, you kind of expect them to go all out crazy, and you expect it to be kind of one of the most memorable runs of the run. And maybe it's because the standards are kind of super high for World's Finest, but I didn't feel like this was... It's not a bad issue. I did enjoy it as a fun little thing, but as a 50th milestone issue, I kind of expected a little bit more in terms of, like, something to kind of wow me a little bit, too. And I feel like I've been kind of saying that with World's Finest. Like, it hasn't been bad. It's been fun. It's been fine, but I'm like... God, the first couple story arcs were just so good, and then, like, ever since then, we've never been quite able to hit, like, the high marks of those previous things. And I don't know, maybe Mark Waid needs a break from the title or something to kind of really kick things into high gear, because this is a fun, lighthearted issue, and maybe I just kind of have to, like, set my expectations a little bit lower. But because the first few arcs were just so good, maybe I'm just kind of expecting that to kind of continue onward, and that's not always going to be the case, especially when you're writing 50 issues. So not to say this is bad. Like, I thought this was perfectly fine, enjoyable, like, standalone issue, but for a 50th milestone, you kind of expect just a smidge more. But let's go ahead and break down what happens in this thing. So of course, like I said, Mark Waid was the writer on this thing, and there's two storylines. The first one's a Batman and Superman focus one. They team up with Zatanna to take down Dr. Destiny, and they have to utilize the Dreamstone going into their dreams. And then we have that's the first storyline, and then the second one is Sturm and Drang. Mark Waid is the writer, and Adrian Gutierrez is the artist. So you basically get two storylines for the price of one. And in the first one, it's kind of chocked with some great looking Dan Mora artwork, and they go into the dreamscape. It makes me think back to Night Terrors from a few years ago when I covered that entire event, and what a waste that was. But yeah, so it's kind of making me think of that. I did like some of the little Easter eggs in that, like how Superman has his own little Batman 66 mobile, which I think is cool. They're both kind of manipulated in the dreamscape, gives them a chance to kind of have some playful banter and get some cool visuals and all that too. Like I said, Dan Mora's artwork is fantastic, and some little callbacks to other things. I mean, that looks like it was like the Batman Red Rain or whatever, with Batman as a vampire or something. Eventually they face off against Dr. Destiny, realizing they're being kind of manipulated, and like, you know what, let's take charge, let's clean things up a little bit. And then they kind of turn a little bit scary evil here, and they kind of take him down, defeat him, and we're the world's greatest team, basically. It's the two of them. So that was good. It was good, fun, lighthearted, simple, effective. Then the second storyline is basically a competition between Robin and Jimmy Olsen and Supergirl and Batgirl, and they're trying to showcase which one's a little bit better than the other, and they have a little competition to find some sort of lost artifact. And Supergirl and Batgirl are on one team, and Jimmy Olsen and Robin are one. They use different resources. Batman and Superman are kind of the judge of it, and it's just a fun little bet trying to find something. They use their resources. They make their way into Egypt. There's a moment where Babs calls Jimmy Olsen, like, kind of cute, and Supergirl's mind kind of breaks down at the concept of it all. But yeah, Jimmy Olsen's really become a ladies' man, I feel like, in the comics as of late. Even in the latest Superman movie, it's like everybody's like, yeah, Jimmy Olsen. And I don't know, it's just kind of funny to me. But Jimmy is Jimmy. They find this artifact and this dagger. They take the dagger out, and some giant, like, shape-shifting dragon thing comes out. And basically, they all have to kind of, like, team up, take it down. And yeah, so they kind of call it a tie at the end of the day. But then Batman and Superman, like, they do realize they're gonna have to clean up the Batcave afterwards, and like, yeah. And then there's some kind of lighthearted jokes, and that's basically it. It feels like kind of like one of those fun anthology books. And the artwork is fantastic from start to finish in this thing, and it is an enjoyable issue overall. I guess maybe it's just you expected just one of the most iconic stories you could ever get with a 50th issue. I don't know what they should have done, but it's totally fine, totally a fine issue. It's just, I think the 50 on it kind of like holds it back in some ways, because you expect like the big 50th special, something grand, big, epic that they're saving for it, and it's just two fun little nice lighthearted storylines, and they're perfectly fine, perfectly enjoyable on their own. but with those expectations, you just kind of expect a little bit more, but not to take away from an enjoyable comic book. So maybe if I don't look at it as number 50, I probably, think of it as, totally enjoyable, fine stuff. I still think it's kind of worth checking out if you're a fan of this title so far, but just don't go in expecting the higher standards of the earlier issues of World's Finest. If you look at it as kind of its own standalone thing, you'll probably have a little bit of like lighthearted fun with it. So there you go. But with that being said, I'm now officially all caught up with the DC comic book reviews, and I got some Godzilla comic books that I'm going to be covering next. But in the meantime, let me know what you thought of this issue in the comment section down below. Be sure to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more content, hit the bell for notifications, all of the fun stuff, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.